Hello, we're going to talk about how to build a data set with Forcivity's advanced reporting for Salesforce. I'm on the home page. There's a couple different ways you can get to building a data set. You can click the build, or I can say build data set right from the quick actions edit right here at the top. I'm just going to select that one. And I'm going to see any available data sets, and I'm going to go ahead and say create a brand new data set. If at any point in time you want to see this video, obviously you can just click the help and training area and build a data set. It's also available within the full documentation on our website. So I'm going to go ahead and create a brand new data set. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pick it. So now I have to decide what object I want to start my data set on. In this case, I'm going to say I want an account. I'm going to go ahead and click that again and decide what fields I want. I might want the account number, description, maybe an ID, and maybe I want the name and who owns it. And I think that's good. So I'm going to go ahead. I've selected my values. I'm just going to go ahead and close this. And now you can see I've got 5 selected. So if I go back in here again, you can see I've got all my fields selected. So that's the first part of my data set. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, and you'll see as I hover over an item, I can delete it. I can add another relationship, which is what I'm going to do now. So I go ahead and pick that green one, and I'm going to go ahead and say I want to look at objects for cases that are related to that account. So I go ahead and click that. I close it. If I select that again, now I want to get the fields. So maybe I want to make sure I got the right account ID. I'm going to see if they're escalated. I'm going to see who the owner is and its priority and status and a subject. So that way I can get a report. So I go ahead and close it again, and you can see now I actually have a relationship between the accounts and the fields I selected and cases in the accounts I selected. And as I hover over this, I can say whether it's an inner or an outer join. So I'm going to leave this selected. And if I wanted to create another relationship, I can do that right here. So I can add another one. Let's just say I want another relationship, and I wanted to get, maybe in this case, it would be assets. I'm going to go ahead and close that. So you can see I've got assets now. And in the asset field, I want to grab that account ID again. Maybe I want a description. Maybe I want the name of that, price, anything I want to go ahead and, serial number. Maybe those are the things I want to go ahead and capture. So now I've actually created a data set that allows me to look at the account level, and I can look at related assets and the fields I selected in cases. So if this is what I wanted to go ahead and use for my reports later on, I'm just going to go ahead and say, create the data set. So I'm just going to call it test. I'll call it test now. I'm going to create that. Now you can see I've got a test now, and there's always a confirmation alert that comes up. So I've got my data set. Now I need to do one more item, which is just schedule the report. So scheduling the report is going to refresh that data on a scheduled basis. It doesn't need to be done real time. So in this case, I'm just going to call the report name accounts cases and assets. All right. It's going to store all that information in a custom Salesforce object. And I'm going to go ahead and say twice daily, which is fine. And I'm going to start it at 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and schedule that. And you can see it was successfully scheduled. So now if I go back to my home page, and give it a minute. I had to wait for it to refresh, but you will see here's the data set I just created. It's scheduled. You can see it's pending, and it'll tell you the time it's going to run next. So that is creating a data set. If I wanted to go ahead, I can change the schedule here. But if I want to go ahead and do something with that data set, I go back in the data sets. I can edit it. I could copy it to a new one, or I could delete it. So if I edit it, I'm just going to go right back in here where I was before. Go ahead and cancel that. And that is creating a brand new data set. Thank you.